While I was busy with my work as a materials manager, I got an email that really shook me up. It was from Michael, and he calmly told me that he was in love with someone else and wanted to start a new life with her. He also said he was taking the fancy car we bought together, even though it was under my name. I begged him to think it over, but he didn't listen. Then he disappeared with his new girlfriend, leaving me with a big debt. It was a total shock for me, Ava, at 33, and our little family of 3, including our smart 12-year-old son, John. John's cleverness was evident from an early age, as he would have deep conversations and give thoughtful opinions on articles, which was quite different from Michael's inconsistent behavior. Even though Michael hadn't held down a stable job, he somehow managed to keep money coming in for the past 4 years, encouraging us to make lasting memories as a family. This led us to buy a camper van worth $388,000. However, because Michael couldn't meet the financial requirements, I ended up responsible for the loan. On the day we were supposed to get the camper, Michael sent an email saying he was taking it, leaving me to deal with the financial burden alone. When I confronted him, he confessed to having an affair and said he was leaving to start a new life. He even mentioned divorce, something we had argued about before. But now it was really happening, catching me completely off guard. Finding out about Michael's betrayal and then him disappearing, leaving me with a huge debt and no way to contact him, was devastating. I tried to reach him, but it was useless, and he never sent the divorce papers he promised. On top of that, we were still dealing with the $38,000 loan. In the midst of all this chaos, John's understanding of the situation made it clear just how much Michael leaving had affected us emotionally and financially. This wasn't just a tough situation, it was a harsh wake-up call to reality. I had to figure out how to move forward after being betrayed, all while making sure John was okay and dealing with this overwhelming debt. After dinner, John came up to me looking worried, his young face showing concern. "Mom, what's up? You haven't been eating much lately. Are you okay?" His worry made me stop for a moment. "Oh, I'm probably just a bit tired," I said, trying to brush it off. But John, wise beyond his years, said, they say when people lie, they look up to the right. Lying isn't good, Mom." Then he cautiously asked about Dad's absence, saying Dad hasn't been around for 2 days. Did something happen? His directness surprised me, and I felt like I had to tell him the truth about what was going on with our family. John reacted maturely, almost like he knew something was wrong even before I said it. He seemed to understand the situation with a wisdom beyond his age. Even though I could tell he was upset, I couldn't hide my stress in the following days. At work, during a training session, I suddenly couldn't stand up. I was overwhelmed by emotions and collapsed, feeling like I was being swallowed by darkness, while my colleagues expressed their concern around me. Waking up in the hospital, I was told I needed some serious medical tests. It hit me hard. Lying in that bed, hooked up to an IV, I couldn't help but cry. When John rushed in, looking really worried, I had to quickly wipe away my tears. He was scared, asking, "You're gonna be okay, right? You're not gonna die?" I reassured him that I was going to be fine, touched by his bravery and how grown up he was acting even though he was just a kid. His concern when he mentioned his teacher calling about me being in the hospital reminded me of how strong I needed to be. Even though the doctors told me it was worse than I thought, having John by my side gave me a new determination to get better. I knew I had to recover, not just for myself, but for both of us. Going through all of this showed how strong our connection was and how we could face anything together with bravery and determination. When the doctor confirmed my worst fears and said I needed urgent surgery for a serious illness, it was like everything became a blur of medical appointments and treatments. As I recovered, a month had passed since Michael left. When I got home, I found a letter in the mailbox that made my heart sink. A demand for the car loan payment, which was supposed to be automatically deducted. The shock only got worse when I checked our bank account. What used to have $445,000 now had just $29.90 left. Michael had taken almost all our savings, leaving us in a really tough spot without the camper van. I felt even more hopeless knowing I couldn't sell it to make up for the money we lost. Seeing how upset I was, John stepped in to help in the kindest way possible, suggesting he could start delivering newspapers and look for online jobs to pitch in. His willingness to take action was like a ray of hope, pulling me out of my sadness. Now's not the time to give up, I told myself, feeling encouraged by his positivity. Together, we came up with a plan to get the camper van back, using a clever idea. We could track its location using the GPS on John's phone, the one we got for him. It was a plan born out of necessity and John's smart suggestion, giving us a new direction. It was something we hadn't thought of before, offering a glimmer of hope in what felt like a hopeless situation. With the GPS app, we could keep an eye on where the van was, a crucial first step in our mission to get back what was rightfully ours. Going through this tough time had not only shown how strong we were but had also brought us closer together, all working toward the same goal. Worried about Michael possibly getting away with excuses, John's confidence was like a shining light. "Don't worry, Mom. I've got it covered," he said with a smile that put me at ease. I was amazed by his forward thinking and independence. Even when I was vulnerable and in the hospital worrying about everything, John had come up with a plan that was so smart. I couldn't have thought of it myself. His initiative showed not only how clever he was but also how well he understood what was going on. Even with Michael's new relationship, feeling empowered by John's clever plan, we decided to confront Michael, turning our tough situation into a learning experience for him. "We're stronger when we're together, and now it's time for us to take action," I said confidently, feeling like nothing could stop us with my son by my side. Just 3 days later, I got a call from Michael, sounding desperate for help with a police investigation related to our report of the stolen van. Without wasting any time, John and I rushed to Forest Park, where we found Michael looking stressed and surrounded by police officers. When we got there, I asked for a private chat and sent the police away for a moment. Michael seemed uncomfortable under our gaze and the stares of others around us. He quickly invited us into the van, where his girlfriend was sitting defiantly, but her presence didn't matter as much as what we needed to discuss. "Why are the police involved, Michael?" I asked, genuinely confused. "It's simple," I explained. "The van, which you thought you could just take, was reported stolen. It's under my name, not yours." Michael's belief that marital disagreements were exempt from the law was shattered by the reality of his actions. This wasn't just about getting back what was rightfully ours, it was also about showing Michael the consequences of his betrayal and recklessness. Our careful planning and John's smart thinking had completely changed the situation, proving that even when someone betrays you, staying strong and united can lead to justice and empowerment. Michael thought he could get away with breaking the law because he thought marital issues were outside its reach, but he was wrong. "Remember the divorce you wanted? That means we're not legally connected anymore. So you can't use a car that's registered in my name without my permission," I explained, correcting his misunderstanding. John had figured this out too, showing wisdom beyond his years. Michael tried to say he was just borrowing the car, but I wasn't buying it. "Is that right?" "Well, I need my car back now, please," I said, holding out my hand for the keys. Michael reluctantly handed them over, realizing he couldn't argue with the truth. Then John, a mix of curious and disappointed, asked, "Why did you choose her over us?" Michael stumbled over his words, while his girlfriend Sophia tried to justify their affair. But John's serious tone shut her down, insisting on an answer from Michael. When pressed, Michael reluctantly explained how their affair started and grew, leading to his decision to leave with Sophia, who was now pregnant, and the van. "Why take the van?" I asked, already having an idea thanks to the GPS app we had on both our phones for safety after John's hiking incident. This tool unexpectedly gave us updates on Michael's location, showing us he was misusing the van. This was a big moment where our preparation and John's clever thinking made a difference, showing the importance of taking responsibility and the power of technology in uncovering the truth. Finding out that John had faked getting lost on our hike just to get a cell phone amazed me. His actions, driven by a feeling that something wasn't right with his dad, led to a plan to keep track of Michael. "You're quite the strategist," I said, impressed by his cleverness. I was amazed, even though I joked about how John seemed to predict what would happen. When confronted with John's honest words, Michael couldn't say anything to defend himself. On the other hand, John's grown-up way of speaking and standing firm in what he believed made me feel proud as a mother and determined to make things right. The fact that Michael had taken $45,000 from our account, money I had saved before we got married and during all the times when Michael couldn't keep a steady job, was especially upsetting. Realizing that divorcing Michael was a relief showed just how much he had betrayed me. Even though Michael tried to make it seem like taking the van and the money was just a small argument between us, I was determined to take legal action. Should I call the police now? John asked, ready to dial the number on his phone and bring in the authorities. Sophia, who had been listening in, panicked as things escalated, especially with her own parents arriving, angry and ready to confront her for her part in everything. When she tried to leave the van, her parents stopped her, yelling loudly. "I'm sorry, please don't be mad," she begged, hoping for some sympathy that wasn't there. I had taken the step to tell her parents about what was going on, prompted by John's visit to Michael's workplace while I was in the hospital. He had told them what was happening with our family, leading to an investigation that brought Sophia's parents into the picture. This confrontation wasn't just about exposing Michael and Sophia's lies. It showed how far John and I would go to make things right and protect our family. It proved how important it is to take responsibility for your actions and to stand up to those who try to deceive you, no matter how complicated things get. I sat down with Michael and recounted the whole messy story to them, explaining how we ended up in this situation. Things took a surprising turn when I questioned the timing of Sophia's pregnancy, pointing out some inconsistencies that suggested the baby might not be Michael's. Michael was shocked by this revelation, staring in disbelief as the truth sank in. Sophia tried to deflect, but tensions rose, leading to a heated argument between her and Michael as they each tried to blame the other. Their fight showed just how deep their deception went, and everyone there saw it. As the night went on and the police arrived with their flashing lights, Michael went back and forth between denying everything and admitting he was wrong, begging for forgiveness and promising to change. But John made a wise observation that real change is rare for those who keep making mistakes on purpose. I was determined to make sure Michael faced the consequences of his actions, showing that we wouldn't let him get away with what he'd done. We were committed to handling the aftermath with dignity and making sure justice was served. The $45,000 loss was just the beginning. Michael agreed to pay child support each month, and his wages were garnished to cover these expenses and others. It was the start of a long journey to make things right. Selling the camper van not only got rid of the loan, but also symbolized leaving the past behind, allowing me to focus on healing and the future. As time passed, I regained my strength, thanks to my renewed dedication to my job and the constant support from John. He took on household chores with a maturity beyond his years. Despite the challenges, this experience strengthened our determination to move forward. We were inspired by the lessons learned and the justice served. And through it all, we made sure John knew that integrity and resilience are important qualities to have when facing tough times, so he could keep chasing his dreams with confidence.